Hello. I know I'm off-centered, but that's because last time, the first time, sometime, people started talking to this side of my chat. Um, so good evening. I know it's late. Unfortunately, my long COVID has come back, and I realized it tonight, or this afternoon completely, when my arms started shaking, my bones hurt, which is rather annoying, and my taste buds got fried again. I can eat really hot things and not taste them right now, which is no fun, but it also makes me really tired and unmotivated, and it's not fun to be that way. So definitely can't go to San Fran by myself because I also fall easily when I'm like this. So weekends, definitely, if I can convince a friend to come with me, or if we independently meet up with someone there. I know at least one person who works near there who would like to come at lunchtime. And since I'm practically nocturnal, I don't call 2 o'clock in the morning nocturnal, or during the week, 1 o'clock in the morning nocturnal. I still wake up late, and right now it'll be easy to get me going for the first couple of hours because that's the only time I have energy when I'm like this. Thank God the husband cooks because I crash. And after this, I'll crash because the serotonin level comes up and I'm like, oh, I'm going to club. No, I'm going to YouTube. And then I'll crash because I'll be really tired. But the one thing I have been able to do when I am sitting around is make mufflers. So I still need to line this in or make a border of it in something that's more yellow and sparkly. I know they probably don't match, but I'm colorblind, so I don't care. All I care about is the color is right, I guess. That's why I've got yellow things all over my t-shirt, because I kept trying this on, seeing how long I should make it. So I know it's not a Rodney, but this is the only stitch I was ever taught. I suck on borders too, so it'll be funny watching me do a border with the weird corners that I do. Anyway, on to business. So let's see. Since I've had, or DOA's been talking about alcohol beverage control, which since I spent 27 years have continued to spend this time in the nightclub and bar scene as an employee, I very much well know what, or aware what ABC can do. Just to caution the poop shoot, if they run across this or somebody says something about it, they go in undercover. So you're not going to know when they're there. And then you're going to get busted and you're going to be told the next day, excuse me, that you're suspended for 30 days. That's the beginning. Suspended for 30 days. And that means your club's got to be closed. Or you don't serve alcohol. No, I think your club is closed for 30 days. Anything longer than that may get. All I ever know is that they're closed for 30 days. There was a guy in San Francisco who hated all the nightclubs, who used to have a ball going out and sending undercover people to get them to close down, because as time has evolved in the 27 years, it's gone from you can't drink until you get drunk. The minute a bartender notices you're drunk, or anybody who works there notices that you're drunk, you're done. And that was because of all the women getting taken home drunk because their boyfriends or friends would get them overly drunk. Yeah, this was right. Overly drunk and then take advantage of them. So that's where that evolved from. So watching the people come wandering out, because it's not just girls, it's guys too, come staggering out of the poop shack It's rather annoying. I couldn't figure out why until DOA started talking about ABC. And I was like, holy crap. Yes. You can't get drunk. You definitely can't smoke, which for some reason, maybe they refer it, but it's always been connected to ABC too. Inside. Can't smoke inside. You can barely smoke in a patio anymore in California. And since they have the awning with the shade going down to make their version of a parklet, which we have in San Francisco all over the place. They're the ones that take up the parking space now. That was always in front of the club. Which is weird because I haven't seen the awning ones with the covers on them. I've seen them with tables and stuff and walls maybe, but no like block out covers. That's really weird. So I'm sure ABC doesn't like that either. Because they're pretty much the IRS of nightclubs. They do what I say or get off. So they have a good chance of getting it shut down just by that. The ones that I do know of is 30, 90 days, and then you might as well close because it's like 6 months or a year, and you can't survive that without serving alcohol if you're a nightclub. So he could probably have fun with that one. And I hope there is a ABC guy that doesn't like that street, because then he'll get them busted real fast. And that's my opinion. Everything on here is my opinion. So do what you will with it. I've talked about my long COVID, which really sucks because it zaps the motivational energy out of you. At least knitting you don't have to move that much. Should have realized when my wrists were starting to hurt for no reason, and the first time in a couple of years, that there was something wrong with my body. Thrills. Death threats to the aftermath. Really? Do you really think anyone of this group would do that? Remember, this group has the problem of compassion and empathy, which you sort of think of it down the way that if there was a death threat, you would probably think, oh my God, but what would this do to his family? What would this do to his neighborhood? What would it do to his relatives, their relatives, her relatives? It's like, we don't think that way. That's why there aren't going to be death threats. It just doesn't work that way. We don't. Nonviolence is mostly, you'll get emails that say F you, F you, F you, but you're not going to get an email that says that. So, oops. Oh, it died. So we'll have to do it the hard way. Okay. So we'll have to do it like this. Let me see if I can move this. I don't think my name's on anything over there. So, that'll work for the moment. And that's my phone, so I'm gonna have to put it with that one. That one's not any better. It's the same color. Okay, so we're gonna have to work with the hue bulbs that are blue. I don't like blue. I think it makes everything stick out. And since I've been too tired to put on makeup, I've got really rosy cheeks right now, even though I don't like them. So now my angle's completely off. So binder. This is the stuff that's supposed to go on my YouTube. The blue book is what I think about putting there. So, leave Liz Veris alone. It's ridiculous. Don't pick on her. She's got enough things to deal with, and people being bullies are not right, not correct. I wish I could be in anybody's atmosphere that's being bullied, because I was really good about talking bullies down. Because I always jumped in because I thought you shouldn't pick on people. Growing up in Oakland, you had a very diverse, even disabled amount of people. And one of my friends actually had something wrong that she actually got blind between 6th and 7th grade. She was a neighbor's niece, so I knew her from there. And when she turned in school in 7th grade, she was blind. And of course, teenagers are mean, so they would pick on her. She had a guide because it was a 2-story place, and this was before ADA was really enforced. So, but she sat next to me and I talked to her like crazy because I knew her before she was blind, so she wasn't some weird monstrosity because, you know, disabilities freak people out. So, and I tell people, you know, it's not nice to bully someone. And in a weird way, I actually got bullies to be friends with me. Because I talked to them. I'd still talk to them and I would say, how are you doing today and stuff. And I would really care because most bullies had bad times at home. And that's why they bullied people. And I knew a lot of people. I was friends, if not acquaintances, with a lot of people, always. And so I knew how to talk to people to say, it's not nice. It's just not productive. What are you getting out of this? Why are you doing it? Talking to people and spending more than 30 seconds trying to, you know, understand what they're talking about. But sitting there, when it started in school, when I started talking to people during recesses and things, and I would pass them by when we were done talking, and later on when they weren't bullying anymore, and they would say hi to me. So it was just a weird, easy thing to do, which is just be friends with people. It's not that hard, and you can find out that there are a lot more messed up people out there than anybody would admit. Somebody's favorite phrase the second time they'd see me is, I can't believe I said all that to you. And I would say, don't worry, I can't remember it. It's not you. I really can't remember it. And it was great because they told me things that they wouldn't tell anybody else, and I couldn't remember, so I couldn't gossip. I was never really a huge gossiper anyway, nothing important. Working in clubs and dancing in clubs like goth nights, it's like if the club was right and you had a front room, everybody go to the front room and talk and drink and then go back to the back room to dance. So, you know, you hold court. And I did that a lot. The joke was 400 of my closest friends when Facebook first opened up, because at the time it was just a traveling little goth scene. So, industrial scene, Mad Max people. So you had the Anne Rice lovers and the Mad Max lovers. And when they all date each other, it was hilarious. So that was fun. But the bullies, I mean, we had people come in as bullies to make fun of everybody that would eventually become our friends. And I can say that I was one of the reasons a lot of times, because I would just say, why are you doing this? I thought it was, when I was an adult, I thought it was something I could only do when I was drunk. Isn't that nice? That's why I don't drink anymore. But realized, no, I just have a real, because I'm an empath. So I feel these things. And when people are upset, and my friends are used to me going, you know, what's wrong? And they just give me a look like, stop it. Don't do that. Can't help it. Do it to my husband. Do it to my dad. My dad's very stoic. I'm just like, what's wrong? Nothing. Don't work that way. So it's just the way I am. And it's a reason. One of the reasons I'm here is because I just can't take it where people are heartbroken or ripped apart like Serge. You know, Serge just kills me every single time I see him. Because he went through so much and he retains it still. I'm sure after a lot of therapy, like me, I need a lot of therapy, but I still don't like therapists. Couples counseling when I was married, and they ganged up against me. So for my 30th birthday, I stood up and said, I'm leaving you, and I'm leaving you. And it was my husband and the therapist. And I said, bye-bye, and walked out. So I still don't trust him. So I'm still not going to therapy probably like I should. I just take drugs, prescribed drugs, and homeopathic things. So, and not weed. I can't smoke weed. It gives me headaches. Have not tried CBD gummies because I don't want the headache, and I probably would give myself a headache. So how's that for a tangent? Try to stop bullying people and maybe bully the right person, so they'll ask you the right questions, so maybe you can calm down, because bullies are fixable. They really are. You have to be a pretty big psychopath not to be able to be fixed. That's the easiest way to put it. So, oh, and Liz Ferris said, the one thing that gave me the shivers today was, she doesn't believe a leopard can change their spots, but they can change what they're eating. Oh, that's a great phrase. I love that phrase. I think it's like, it made me go, so, because a leopard can't change their spots was sort of a weird thing to say, because I like leopards. It's so superficial and I can't help it, but it's the truth. So, but you can change what they're eating. I love that. I want that forever. I hate seeing anybody upset. The second gens, it just rips my heart out, and I just want to, this is what, coming from East Oakland, I just want to slap them upside the head. The people that are hurting them, and just go, do you know what you're doing? Do you like what you're doing? Do you like who you are? Do you like what you've become? The only reason you're mean is because there's something wrong in your life, not theirs. They're coming to terms with their life. That's why I've always tried to be upfront in my own life. And I know what's wrong with me, most of it. Finding out new and exciting things that are wrong with me. But the person who sends those horrid emails and sends horrid comments, why? What's wrong? Seriously, just what's wrong? Write it down. You don't have to tell anybody. Just maybe visualize it so you can get better. You'd be surprised how people will accept it if you sincerely apologize. And I mean, really, not just the, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it, I'm messed up. No, a real apology from the heart. And people know the difference. I mean, it's just an instinctual thing. You can tell when somebody's giving you the business and when somebody's really sincere. And you don't even have to trust people to say it. You could just say to yourself that, oh well, at least I have said what I thought and it's over. And I don't have to deal with it anymore with them. Figure out what's wrong with yourself. Even if it's just something slight, so you can start fixing yourself, and you can then put it away after that. Just get rid of the pain that's being caused deep in your body, deep in your brain. The excuse you've always made. I've been mean or mad for the excuses I would make, because this is one of the few things I do well. Even I think I do this well. I've never been creative, even though I try like crazy. The one Afghan stitch, you know, it's like, so I'm making Afghans for all my friends' children now because nobody makes them anymore. I think I've talked about this before. You guys need to get on your mom's butts and tell them how to learn how to crochet or something. If they don't have time, tell them to stop playing video games. They're that age. You know, they play the heavy-duty video games that cost $1 million and really don't achieve much. I've never been into video games. Atari, that's where I left off in Super Mario Brothers. But now Mario Brothers is just a memorial to a friend of mine. I'll eventually get a mushroom tattoo to remind me of her, because she was great. Let's see. From the binder of what I was going to say, it's writing paragraphs and I don't know why, to the Blue Book. So, oh yeah, this morning Marilyn Honig said that she lives in the boonies, so she doubts that You wouldn't see somebody coming from half a mile away to do something weird. Mine's the opposite. I live in a cookie cutter neighborhood. There are millions of them in the Bay Area. They range from Edwardians, Victorians. They're developments. And so in the city, you have certain areas that have a certain amount of houses. Edwardian houses are below Divisadero there because all the Victorians burned down there. You've got Victorians on one side. In Oakland, you have hikers up in the hills, which is really interesting. Wanted to buy one once, but it needed a lot of work, a lot more than it would have been to cost buy a brand new house. You have the craftsman types. My old neighborhood where I grew up, my parents had what's called a cottage craftsman. Those are all the baby wood ones. They're not the Sears ones that came out on the train. They were sort of like the houses in South San Francisco that look like Eichler's, but they're not. They're done by one of his proteges. So it's the same thing. So that's the cool part about where I live, is that it just blends in with everybody else. Looks just like everybody else. I've never wanted a house that stuck out. My aunt had a Victorian that was wonderful, and that was nice, and no, not because it was Victorian. I just didn't want a house that stuck out. So it's like finding me would be pretty hard because I live in the cookie cutter world. So I'm glad that they don't do that, or aren't doing it right now, because they don't have the finances to do it. So, and I'm not in an area that sticks out. And I think they put San Francisco, Oregon, in the wrong place, because it's on the edge of the financial district, and you really don't get a lot of people going by. If it's someone from the financial district, they don't have time for you. And if it's a tourist, they just want to know where they're going, like I did on the other video. So it's sort of fun. During the week, not a lot of people. It's got to drive them crazy. That's probably why they go to Embarcadero Center. But it was only one. It was only one person coming back from Embarcadero Center. So I just don't. Also, the malls around here are sort of losing their juice. And Embarcadero Center is probably only used by the people who work there. And a lot of people don't work in the financial district anymore because they stay home. They fight to stay home because it's easier. Most commutes are over an hour over here. And at height, going over the bridge could have easily taken an hour and 15. And that's coming from Oakland. So it's like people fought like crazy to stay there. I'm sure Salesforce is just going bonkers because they're huge. Rodney, because that's what it reminds me of. It's not nearly as full as they expected. So, because you're not going to fight with your number one people to come in when they stay home for COVID and they don't want to come in yet. I know Adobe forced everybody to, but I bet you it wasn't a pretty transition. So, good luck there. I mean, they have great food around there, great donuts, but not a lot of people aren't looking at their phones seriously. It's sort of like the leave me alone, I'm busy. And if it's a financial district, they're definitely busy. So, way stocks have been the past few years, I don't blame them. Corrupt cops. When I was about 20, I got pulled over. I was going into the city from, at the time I lived in Fremont, I think. Hayward. I lived in Hayward. And I got pulled over by a city cop in Oakland. And it's not normal for a city cop in Oakland to pull you over. That's usually the CHP unless it's something catastrophic. So I pull off the freeway and go into a residential neighborhood because as a woman, even in the 80s, you did not pull over your car on the freeway ever, and a policeman could not arrest you for it. Probably still can't. So he pulls me over. I pull over in the residential district right off the freeway, and he comes up to me and tells me that he's getting off work in an hour and it'd be great to meet me at the station, and then walks away. I have my registration, my driver's license, my insurance, everything that I need in my hand. And I yell out the window, "Is that it?" And he said, "Yeah, hopefully you'll be there in an hour." And I said, I screamed it. So I'm sure people saw it because I was so mad. I screamed, "In your dreams," and drove away. Yeah, that's very much a bad idea because I could have gotten in an accident because, of course, I was still at the age where cops on the road freaked me out. Cops in my face didn't freak me out, but cops on the road did. So yeah, they're everywhere, and they do weird things. I have other cop stories about being let go when I should have gotten a ticket, and you know, I was driving a car once without a license. My license had been suspended because I didn't pay a parking ticket, or no, I didn't pay a 5 mile over ticket, and my license had been suspended, which means that anything I had that I was driving was not insured. I got pulled over going 90 miles an hour because it was a CRX, and on a straight line from Bay Area to Sacramento, there's a freeway that just, I think it's F80, duh. But at one point, it was all fields and stuff, so you could just fly right through it. And I used to go to work in Sacramento and live in Fremont. I was 22. I had nothing better to do. And my best friend was a bartender, so. But yeah, I was going into work one day when I got pulled over for real by a CHP, and I'm like, oh crap. And he walked up on the other side because it's the freeway, and I just sat there because I knew I was history. I knew I was probably going to jail. And he walks up and he goes, "License and registration." I go, "Here's my registration, but I don't have a license." And he was like, "Really?" And I said, "Well, last time I heard, I was suspended." So I carried around my driver's license because I used it as an ID, and it wasn't expired. It was just suspended. So he took it back, found out I was really suspended. He said, "Do you know how fast you're driving? You never say yes. You always say no." And I said, "No, sorry, I wasn't paying attention." And he said, "Well, you were driving really fast. Get this fixed tomorrow." Because I said I was on my, "Where are you going?" "I'm on my way to work. I live in Fremont." And he came back and said, "We'll get this fixed tomorrow. Bye." And I was like, okay. So yeah, even on traffic stops, cops are interesting. They don't have to always give you a ticket. As long as they don't, the joke is, as long as they don't start writing in their steno pad or the ticket, that you can be let go. So that used to be the running joke if somebody got pulled over. Girls, I don't know about guys, but girls would go, "He's not writing," and you'd go, "Then you're not going to get the ticket." They're everywhere. So it's like you just have to learn to read a cop, which is impossible. I think I've actually covered everything. What did Scientology make me do today? Scientology made me make this video because I was beat as a dog and wound up watching Tori for the last 2 hours, and it was sort of like total jealousy. If she could do it, I could do it. The song today was "Wishing" by Flock of Seagulls. It's been going through my head all darn day. And that's it. I've hit 29 minutes, so that's not bad. Maybe myself will let me put makeup on eventually because I don't have any on again. And I was explaining to the sales lady at Ulta that I need to put on makeup now because I have to make myself look presentable. Oh, gold nails. Like that was today's color, is gold. So for 2 weeks I have gold nails. So I can run around. I didn't cuss a lot, but couldn't cuss around my mother because she hadn't said the F word since 1972 when she was in a fight with my dad, and they were at a Greek restaurant and she screamed "F you" as the band stopped. And that was the last time she said the word. And she loved telling that story. But I wasn't allowed to say it when I was a kid. Of course not. It was a cuss word, but I was allowed to do this because my dad did it to me. This is what I get for a coastie, for a dad. So I used to do that forever. The F word was still weird to me. And I don't really cuss because I work customer service and I work clubs, and you don't want to aggravate the aggressor, basically. And so, hi, Lori B. I just saw that. For some reason, I thought that was just another thing on my screen. Hope you're still here to hear that. How are you? So, blah, blah, blah. I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, oh, customer service and not cussing a lot. It pretty much got to the point where it sort of feels weird to cuss now. So I don't have to worry about cleaning up my language. Because I used to cuss like a sailor, and then it got to be cuss like a sailor when I wasn't working that night, and it's just been petering off, and even I sort of start myself if I say a cuss word. Ugh. So hopefully I'll be on tomorrow sometime between 8 and 10, and I'll charge up my phone light because it's a hook on my gimbal, and so I'll have my lighting back instead of my hue bulbs, and I'll turn my hue bulbs a different color so I can use them in case something weird happens. I've learned. That's it. Just now the song is Welcome to the Jungle in my head. So I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow.